Hello, and welcome to the April call for the Global Minecraft Mentor Community. My name is Meenu Rami, and I am so happy to be connected with you again after nearly a month. Welcome back to some of you who have been on spring break or might have been away for the holidays. I hope you had some chance to connect with your loved ones and had some time to yourself and rejuvenate before you get back into the work again. One of the first things that I want to call out is a place on our Education Edition website, which is our blog, that you may or may not be aware of. But on this blog, Brian, my colleague, actually every week puts out a light touch activity called Activity of the Week that you can utilize in your own classroom. And if you're looking for a way to engage your students or pass on a very easy way to get started with Minecraft to a colleague, you might want to think about using this Activity of the Week. On the blog site, you can also read and hear voices from other mentors in the community. And if you're considering submitting a blog post, I highly encourage you to go into Journal on Teams and check out the blog submission guidelines. And in short, those submission guidelines come down to 500 to 700 word posts that talks about a specific way you use Minecraft to teach your students or help another teacher learn about Minecraft. That includes one or two images and maybe a one-line bio so that we can give you credit for the amazing work that you're doing in your part of the world. Lastly, I want to call out E2 in Singapore. I had an amazing time meeting so many of the mentors in person, and the energy from them and their ideas in the marketplace were so inspiring. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to meet so many of you in person. Neil is headed off to Dublin on Thursday, and we'll get to see about a dozen of you there. So we're super excited about our first mentor meetup taking place in Dublin this weekend. And lastly, I want to call out two specific mentors who contributed to this month's video by recording the work that they did together to bring the Verona adventure to life. Ben Spieldenner and Simon Badley, both of them who live a continent apart, but found a way to work together to actually create a resource that other teachers can use. I think this is a great example of how you don't have to wait for my permission or even encouragement to find ways to collaborate with other mentors and create resources that you think might help other teachers get started with Minecraft. So thank you to Ben and Simon. Their video is going to be up next. I'm going to make sure that I include a link to the blog post where you can find our ongoing Mentor of the Week blog post and Activity of the Week as well. So thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm doing this so quickly. If you need to rewind and go back and listen to something that you might have missed, please make sure that you do that. And I'm looking forward to talking to you on Teams. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, mentors. My name is Ben Spieldenner.
My name is Simon Badley.
And we are here to talk to you about how we collaborated and continued to collaborate using Minecraft Education Edition. And Simon and I live a little ways away from each other. Just across the pond, I guess, is what we've what we've come to say. So last year, well, actually earlier in the year, Simon and I collaborated on a project called the Verona Adventure, and the way that started was a bit haphazard because I thought I wanted to use Minecraft Education Edition to have my ninth grade English students who are 14 years old reproduce Romeo and Juliet in Minecraft. And so on our Slack channel last year, the Mentor Slack channel, I just posted that, and then Simon reached out. So I don't know if you want to take it from here, Simon.
Yeah, so I saw Ben's message, and I thought if his students are going to reenact Romeo and Juliet, or they're going to, explore key scenes, the time that they're spending rebuilding, let's say, Juliet's balcony, is not necessarily time that they're engaging with the language. So I thought I can help him out here. I can very quickly throw a map together that his students can explore the language in, and then the time's best spent on what Ben wants to actually do, which is explore the plot, explore the characters, and ultimately the language. So it was on the train on the way down to Minecon Earth. I threw some schematics together to create a version of Verona, and I dropped the Globe Theatre outside it. And so I asked Neil Manigault to convert it, and we zipped it across to Ben, and Ben obviously picked it up from there. So what did you do with that after that, Ben?
Yeah, well, after Simon, created that wonderful map, then I realized that just using it to recreate Romeo and Juliet didn't feel like it was doing the world justice. And so I thought, I think at the time, if I remember right, I think Simon and I had been talking about how we use Minecraft in the classroom, and about creating experiences, more authentic learning experiences, not just, trying to reproduce worksheets or things that we could do in class in Minecraft. And so that kind of pushed me to think beyond just recreating Romeo and Juliet. And so I was thinking about writing activity, and I knew that one of the areas where my students struggled was argumentative writing. And so, one of the questions I had wondered is, what happened after Romeo and Juliet? Did they just live in peace forever? Is that what we're supposed to think? Or did fighting break out again? And so I think after some conversations with Simon, I think the two of us went back and forth. I had some ideas, and he had some suggestions, and I had some ideas, and he had some suggestions. And so that worked out well, because he pushed me to ask better questions, and pushed me to think about the world itself as more of a game and less of a school activity, which really that helped influence then the direction. And so from there, I dropped a bunch of NPCs in. I don't even know how many actually, a bunch, and had them then tell what happened after Romeo and Juliet, which is the fighting broke out again. And so I wanted to create characters that had conflicting pieces of information, so students could figure out which information they were getting was correct, which was incorrect, which was biased based on who they were talking to, and all those kinds of things, because then allowed us then to talk about how do you do research well, and how do you know which sources to go to, and those kinds of things. And then basically I tossed out what I had back to Simon, and kind of went from there. So
yeah, that's generally how we tend to work. I think we knock ideas backwards and forwards, and somewhere between the two of us, there's usually a happy middle ground where some great ideas form. Whether it's something that Ben's working on or something that I'm working on, it's good to have that second pair of eyes, that second outlook on things, and it's served us well, I think.
I think it's good to have someone else that sees their classroom in a very similar way that I do. I think teaching can be very lonely, and can be, you can be cut off. And so I think it helps to have your affinity group. So I mean, it's been great, actually. And we've collaborated on several things, and we have several projects in the works right now.
Yeah, so once we've got an idea, we generally, because of the time difference, we can send text obviously backwards and forwards to each other, and we can pick that one up whenever we're able. But one thing we do is we create a shared document that both of us have access to, and then we can knock ideas together in there. We can put screenshots in, and take little videos and whatever. So even if we're not on the same time zone, and there's 5-6 hours difference between us. So it's not always convenient to connect face to face, as it were, but with shared documents dropped into OneDrive, we can still collaborate even while one of us is in bed.
Which happens a lot. There are a lot of late night messages on one end or the other. So yeah, and actually that makes it really nice too, because one thing that I've learned from this collaboration is to process. So I have a tendency to jump into ideas and then kind of figure out as I go, which isn't always a bad thing, but this collaboration and the time difference actually forces me to really think through some things and to process.
Me too.
So that's helped me a lot.
So in terms of sharing credit for work that we collaborate on, the Verona one was our first big thing that we worked on together, I suppose. And then it got to the end of the project, and the issue came up of, where are we going to share this finished piece? Where, whose profile are we going to upload it to the community site through? Ideally, we would have loved to be able to share it under, a joint banner, and both of us, sort of have the work attached to our own profiles. We considered both of us uploading it separately, and that just seemed counterintuitive. So, I mean, it's Ben's lesson, it's for his students. So there was no issue with Ben uploading it under his profile. I think that was a fairly natural decision to come to.
Yeah, it was nice because it was such a nice world. I mean, it really is beautifully built, and that Globe Theater is absolutely incredible. And so, in one sense, I felt kind of bad because I didn't want to take the credit for it. And so what I tried to do, first of all, I wanted to create a trailer for it because I wanted other people to see what this adventure was, and I wanted them to get a snapshot. And I can't Skype with every single person that might have been interested in using this world. So in the trailer, I wanted to make it very clear that it was a collaboration. And so in the trailer, I tried to give credit to the two of us. Even on the lesson itself on the ME website, I wanted to give both of us credit there too. I mean, the build is just as important as the lesson itself, because the world, actually, the size of the Verona town is perfect. And the funny thing is we never even talked about the size. It just worked out that way. So, yeah. I mean, very, very like-minded in that way, I guess. So,
yeah.
All right, so a few tips on collaboration. One is it does help to find someone who is as crazy as you are in terms of your ideas.
Yeah, I agree.
Somebody who's kind of willing to take some risks with you, who's willing to fail with you. I think that is really, really important. And you also have to be willing to submit yourself to critique and criticism. I mean, for example, we just, my students are working on a world for the book Animal Farm, and I thought, well, it's set, in England, and so I thought, well, I know somebody who would be much more qualified to be able to critique the building than myself.
Yeah, it's good to have someone that you trust challenging the things that you're doing. When I was building Badopia, I sent Ben an early edit, and he came back with a load of brilliant suggestions. Play tested the different mechanics, and based on saying this works and that doesn't work, and that could do with this, and it was just great to have that somebody there to challenge what I was doing and say, actually, is this the best way to do it? Could you move that around there? And that's been really useful. Really useful. I've seen a few messages in Teams where people seem to be putting the same idea forward, and feeling testing the waters to see whether it's a good idea or whether somebody else is thinking the same sort of thing, and just reach out to the guys, reach out to these other people that are coming out with the same kind of ideas, and just put a blog post together, or connect on Skype and talk about ideas, and who knows, we found some great things have come out from this collaboration.
All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. We hope this has been helpful, and look for more Baddeley Spieldenner collaborations in the future.
Absolutely.